Hey there everyone, what's up? Welcome back to YT News. And here is your list of top 5 moments in which SJWs get wrecked by gender facts. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Alright, now let's begin. Number 5. Woman interviewer debunks SJW protester. Though talking about gender-related issues is a sensitive topic to a lot of people around the globe, some SJWs waste no time in making it a battleground to show their moral superiority. They get away with it a lot of the time, but when a clever person comes across them, they are left with no talking points at all. For instance, this social justice warrior went on talking about how there are more than 2 biological sexes in the world. But, unlucky for her, the woman who was interviewing her was pretty clever. SJWs usually try shaming the other person by making them look cruel, but they were not able to do that with this interviewer. The person in the protest spoke to the interviewer about LGBTQ+ rights and how everyone is obligated to respect different non-binary genders. Though the interviewer was not disrespectful at all, her entire rebuttal was summed up in a single sentence. She said that she identified herself as a fighter helicopter, and that anyone who does not call her that is being disrespectful to her.
For women and men, and for all genders.
So women and men.
No, all genders.
No, so women and men.
There's women.
There are 2 genders biologically. I'm sorry.
There isn't. There's you're not now you're totally excluding transgender, non-binary, gender fluid people, and these.
I mean, you can live in your unicorn world.
I'm going to assume that you're a cisgender straight woman because you obviously
that's really true.
and that you probably haven't ever been raped either.
I actually identify as an attack helicopter, so it's really offensive.
You sound like you're speaking from a very privileged point of view here.
Very privileged.
Yes.
I would like you to use my pronouns if you could. They're I, me, and my.
So now you're mocking the LGBTQ community now.
I have lots of LGBTQ friends, and they don't get professionally offended at everything.
Just because you have LGBTQ friends doesn't mean that you're not homophobic or biphobic or transphobic. That's like me saying, oh, I have black friends, so I'm not racist.
My LGBTQ friends are usually male and female.
Number 4. Ben Shapiro on Boy Scouts and transgenders. There are a few names that forever haunt social justice warriors, and Ben Shapiro is definitely one of them. This is one of the major reasons why SJWs try staying as far away from Ben Shapiro as possible. But there are those overconfident SJWs who think they can handle Ben Shapiro, but in the end, they just end up being completely embarrassed. Since there had been a lot of talking going on about transgenders being included in the Boy Scouts, a SJW came up to Ben Shapiro in one of his events as a member of the audience and asked him about it. Now, before SJWs twist the facts about how transgenders are being wrongfully called out, Ben Shapiro clarified that no one has got an issue with their humanity. It is just the idea that is inside their head which makes their statements unrealistic. He explained that it was actually a mental disorder known as gender dysphoria, and that people should start looking into it. The SJW did not stop with that explanation, and argued where explicitly it stated that transgenders or people who did not directly identify themselves as boys should not be included in the group. Ben plainly replied by stating that since the name is Boy Scouts, people in the group technically had to be boys and nothing else.
Okay, but you're still saying these kids should not be accepted because they don't really fit in either place? They can't just
I'm saying that the Boy Scouts have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout.
Where's that written though? Okay.
In the name Boy Scouts. Because this is a very because for all of human history, boy meant boy and girl meant girl. Boy did not mean girl.
People are breaking those things like culture.
And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose? Okay, if I redefine our terms. No, yes, that's right. Men and women are a completely different thing. This is true. Have you ever met a man or a woman? They're completely different.
Completely different thing. You can't just say you're a cat. It's not a thing. It's genders. It's not saying you're.
Okay, why is that? I don't understand. Why? Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, I won't ask you how old. I will ask you how old you are. Okay, because you're young enough that it's probably not insulting to ask you. So.
I'm 22, so I'm probably young and naive, right?
No. Why aren't you 60? Why aren't you 60?
Because
Number 3. Jordan Peterson shuts SJWs on gender pronouns. Remember when I said SJWs have a hankering for twisting facts and making everyone look like a criminal? That happened to Jordan Peterson too, where some of the students at the university he used to teach came up to him and blamed him for promoting right-wing white supremacists and Nazis. Now they couldn't have directly linked them with him, so they blamed him for promoting his existence. But since he too is a clever man, he simply denounced anyone who had been calling him a Nazi, and he said that he hated the Nazis in general. Now when a person is denouncing someone like that, there is no way that anyone could link them with each other. But that wasn't the purpose of the rally. The purpose of the rally was to stop the enforcement of newly constructed gender pronouns on literally everybody. When Jordan Peterson was later asked about why he hates these gender pronouns so much, he said that he deemed them as artificial constructs of radical ideologies.
I think I've made my position on that clear already.
Well, perhaps not to our audience at home who are just being introduced to this. Would you use alternate pronouns? And why not?
Because I don't believe that other people have the right to determine what language I use, especially when it's backed by punitive legislation. And when the words that are being required are the constructions, they're artificial constructions of people I regard as radical ideologues whose viewpoint I do not share.
Number 2, SJW shut by TV guest on marriage. So some of these SJWs thought that they could shut down proper, intelligent people on stuff like marriages, and why men are usually running away from responsibilities that come with it. They could have normally talked about how men are the more suppressing ones, but since this TV guest did his homework, it didn't take much time for him to debunk their theories. The TV guest, in his calm and peaceful manner, talked about how men are subjected to more oppression due to potential divorce, and how they feel better off without marrying in the first place. Number 1, SJWs offended on the use of words. Who could have guessed that a day would come when people would get offended because somebody called them by sweet names? And no, I'm not talking about words that might seem offensive like a swear word or dishwasher or something. Over here, SJWs are getting offended when someone called them my dear. Another SJW showed up and she got offended by the word babe. Unlucky for them. There was a clever guest on the show who swiped them clean. No matter what happens, don't let a SJW fool you with their sparkling but shammy words.
Had 2 examples there, Peter. My dear, sweet cheeks. I mean, is it sexist? Is it demeaning to women? And if so, why does it continue?
Well, I think it's really sad that the free market and mainstream culture is entertaining this outrage culture, which it seems so pervasive at the moment. I mean, it's already taken over universities, and now it seems to be bleeding into advertising and marketing. I mean, this research was undertaken by Kellogg's. You know, we know for a fact that banning words doesn't work, policing language doesn't work. It didn't work for Sheryl Sandberg when she wanted to ban the word bossy. It's not going to work now, and nor should it. It's Orwellian. It's like something from 1984. People just need to toughen up.
You brought up the word bossy there, Peter. I mean, that is often used for little girls, isn't it? And that's a sign of how early this starts.
Yeah, but used in many different ways and against boys as well. I mean, I noticed that this research didn't look at all at the language that men don't feel comfortable with, and at no point did it hold any women accountable for the language that they choose to use. So if we're really going to have this debate about whether language has power, and it does, then we need to do it equally. But let's be realistic. Language has power, but it's limited power.
Well, this brings us to the end of our video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't liked the video yet, it's never too late. Give it a thumbs up, people. We will see you soon in another video. Until then, take care and goodbye.